Namaskar, welcome to Honest Astrologer, and today we are going to start with Mars in the Houses series. I am sure it would be worth your time. The article which I wrote is updated on honestastrologer.com, and the Hindi video is at Honest Astrologer Hindi. So if you haven't subscribed to the Hindi channel, please go and subscribe. You guys will get link in the description. Mars series. First the Hindi video will come, then the English video will come. That is what I have decided, because the Hindi channel was getting a very stepfatherly treatment from me, and I thought I should do some justice there. So let's start with Mars in the first. So as I usually like to use pop icons as examples in order to simplify and make things more relatable. When it comes to Mars in the first, there are two icons which I'll use. One is Sonny Corleone from Godfather, the elder son of the Don Vito Corleone, and his famous dialogue was, "No more meetings, no discussions, no more Solozo tricks. You give them one message, I want Solozo. If not, it's an all out war." So, this is a man whose father has been hit and he is hell bent on revenge, and he is not going to listen to any sort of wisdom or peace talk or strategy or tricks. He has had it, he is going to go out and hit. Okay. Second is a very famous dialogue from our own Sonny Deol. This comes from Damini movie, one of his best performances. And he says, कल अदालत में तूने कोई बदतमीजी की तो वहीं मारूंगा, जज ऑर्डर करता रहेगा और तू पिटता रहेगा. So this is Mars in the first house in a nutshell. This is the distilled version. Okay. So here we go, Mars in the first house. So Mars in the first house is one of the most powerful positions that a person can have, particularly for men. It is not bad for females though, but Mars in the first is a very manly position. So it brings a lot of fiery energy because the first sign of the zodiac, Aries, is ruled by Mars. And remember, Aries can be an anagram for arise. So this is the sign of birth, this is the sign of start, the first sign of zodiac, and it is the Mool Trikona sign of Mars. So in this house, Mars becomes very, very powerful. And Mars can also be like the proverbial headstrong ram. Ram is that goat-like creature which has, those rounded horns, and they just go and bash into things. That is a very Mars-like quality, to bash into things you don't know much about. So there is a term which you can use for these people, and it is called headstrong, and no animal has a stronger head. Mars people have a lot of qualities of the ram. They have a lot of energy. They usually do not get tired. They have a lot of vitality, aggression, and vulnerability. So you'll find these qualities in most of the Mars people. So coming back to the example of Sonny Corleone, I think he was an Aries ascendant with Mars in the first house, so that made him a double Aries. So this was a guy who was impulsive and impatient from the very start. He would yell at his brothers, bully his co-workers, throw his weight around. He would beat up his brother-in-law for defending his sister. He could wage a brutal, bloody war, which would, potentially ruin the mafia. But he was very, very vulnerable when it comes to the cunning stratagems of other people. So he wasn't smart enough to smell a trap when there was one, and he walks into a trap and gets killed. So one of the characters signifying Mars in Western astrology is the Greek Ares, who was invincible in a straight battle but was very easily beaten by clever enemies using an attack from the behind. So that character of Sonny Corleone sums up the Mars in the first archetype. Now coming to our Desi version, Sunny Deol, I think almost all his movie characters had a first house Mars. This was the quintessential He-Man. No other version of angry young man would have looked believable while routing out a hand pump, but this man did. And I'm a Punjabi, so Sunny Deol rocks. I rest my case. So there you have it, the Western and Desi versions. Now coming to the qualities of these people, number one, they have a very short fuse. Okay, their temper is very easily triggered, and in The Godfather, Sonny gets a call from his opponents. They tell him that they have his consigliere, And the final dialogue of the conversation was, "Don't lose that famous temper of yours." So these people are angered very easily. They can flare up about anything, right from a waiter giving them the wrong order to a car overtaking them. Lot of road rage you will find the Mars people involved. These people would have, figuratively, they would have those flames coming out of their eyes when they are even slightly provoked. So they often get into road rages, street fights, bar fights, and injuries and scars are a part of life. We'll talk about that later. Second point, these guys are terribly impulsive. So if you know somebody who will purchase some useless quarterly stuff because they felt like it, probably they would have a heavy Mars in the chart. At times, moon people do that, but they would later ask for a refund. But Mars is too proud to ask for a refund. They don't care much about money. Impulsiveness is second nature, and they are a fire people. So they just want to act on what they do. Now, this fire helps them start things as well. So Mars in the first house are starters. Mars rules Aries, the start of life. So this is the first sign. So again, all the nakshatras in Aries are Ashwini, Bharini, and Kritika. All are very restless nakshatras. So they have this energy. They have to do something. Jana hai, kuch karna hai types, and they are restless, high energy, and raring to go. If they need to pick up a fight, break a few things in order to get what they want, they would do that. The problem is not starting, the problem is finishing. These guys do not have enough patience to finish something. They'll start anything, finish almost nothing. They get bored too easily. Finishing is a Saturn thing, you need heavy Capricorn kind of people for that kind of thing. So starting is an Aries thing, finishing is a Capricorn thing. Starting is a Mars business, finishing is a Shani business. So different horses for different courses. So Capricorn shyness holds them back from usually starting things. Mars will hammer their way out of something, but they will yawn their way to exit if they are bored. Very few things, barring war and sports, hold their interest for very long. These guys are adrenaline junkies. They cannot hold their attention for very long. Shani is at the different end of spectrum. We'll talk about it. Then these guys are always ready for a fight. They are the fighters, and they are comfortable with violence, and they are the guys who will pick fights everywhere, right from classrooms to boardrooms, and they are unstoppable once they are inebriated with the spirit of war. They don't get scared. They actually do not get scared. A moon person would like to avoid a fight at all cost. Mars person would bloody, like a ram, go head first into it, and they would spend their time yelling and lobbying and strategizing, and if required, physical fighting. If things comes to blow, Mars person has your back. So while most people want to exit the battle, these guys are wired differently. They enjoy it. In KGF 2, there was this violence likes me, I can't avoid dialogue. So these guys, somehow they have this affinity for violence and arms and weapons. Most of the Mars people which I have known, they usually have some sort of an armament at their house. It could be firearms if they can afford, otherwise, they would use swords, knives, arrows, what have you, whatever they can legally get their hands on, they'll have them. Another thing, because they have this affinity for violent contact sports, rapid action, and road rage, they often end up injuring themselves. They usually have a scar on their face or head, a mark of which stays with them for life. So, in the depictions of Mars, particularly the Western depictions of Mars, there is a proper scar on his face. A very comparable scar I saw in another Mars character, which was Guddu Bhaiya from Mirzapur. In season 2, is given that scar. So that's a mark of Mangal. And Guddu Bhaiya again was a Mars in the first house, probably a Taurus ascendant, like a bull. But he had a Mars in the first house, a bodybuilder, always ready to fight. Not very bright, but a brilliant fighter. So Mars leaves this mark on their children. Even the branding that Mars does on his own children, it's a little violent. Another thing I've seen with first out Mars people, they have broad nostrils, they have broad noses. Mike Tyson kind of noses because their body needs a lot of oxygen. They are always high energy, always in action. So they need a lot of air supply, and nature gives them broad noses so that they can ensure they get all the oxygen required for the high octane lifestyle that they live. Another thing about Mars, remember Mars is a soldier and these people are patriots and loyal. When it comes to their country, their state, their region, their family, their tribe, their friends, they will go all out. If you have a Mars person in your family, you don't need to worry about safety. These guys make excellent soldiers, right from soldiers to the nation to the soldiers of the family. Nobody dare insult their country, tribe, or family in front of them without a retaliation. Most soldier by definition would have a strong Mars in their charts, otherwise they wouldn't qualify for any army, at least the physical fitness part of it, no matter how strong they are. You need a strong Mars to get physically fit. Another thing, these guys are brilliant at sports and war games. Mars isn't the brightest student in the classroom. That's more of a Mercury Jupiter arena. Teachers' pet are Shani people, laboratory people are Rahu people. But these guys are bored in classes and laboratories, but they turn into geniuses when it comes to sports grounds. They cannot calculate velocity of a ball coming at a certain speed, but they would know how to smash it beyond the boundary for a six. Sports for them is war without the bloodshed, and these guys shine at sports and war both. And when it comes to war strategies and fighting their way out of trouble, they think like military generals. And I have seen a lot of military generals with a strong Mars, particularly Capricorn Mars. And I have some clients who are in armed forces. Usually they have Mars in 110 or 7th house. Another thing, while Aries is considered the main sign of Mars, Mars also rules Scorpio, the sign of revenge. So these people do not forgive and forget easily. This is a big difference between Sun people and Mars people. Both are have a heavy Kshatriya fire element, but Sun people are far more forgiving. They have a big ego. Uh, Sun is the king, but Mars is the commander in chief. So Sun can forgive, Mars finds it very, very difficult to forgive. So they can hold a grudge for a long time, and if Scorpio is heavy, they will strike back and take their revenge. Another point, these guys are a little self-centric. Aries is the sign of the baby. So baby भी क्या infant. So if an infant is hungry, it is hungry. उसको भूख लग रहा है तो लग रहा है boss. If it's 3 in the morning, doesn't care. He will yell and kick and scream till the time he doesn't get what he wants. So these people, they can throw a tantrum when they are unhappy, when they don't get what they want. They don't care what the world thinks about them. They want it, they want it. They can be difficult to handle, but they can be very endearing. These guys are like infants. You can't remain angry at an infant for a very long time. Provided they don't have a Rahu, Shani, Sun influence, these guys can be immature. And coming to maturity, these guys are touchingly naive. They just like to fight against the odds. There is a certain heroic quality to Sun and Mars. Sun is more mature, Mars is very raw in that sense. But as long as they are not, poisoned by Shani, Rahu, or Ketu, they are pretty innocent, but the influence of Shani, Rahu, Ketu can make them sinister or dogmatic. Sun influence can make them very egotistical. They are terribly outspoken and politically very incorrect. If you ask their opinion, they'll give you the truth. Shani gives the truth a very sharp manner, in a very correct manner, but it's usually the bitter truth. Mars gives the forceful truth. That's the difference. The brand of Shani truth and Mars truth, it always makes me smile. We'll talk about it in some other video. So Shani will give you the bitter truth. Mars will give you whatever he feels, and it would be very, very forcefully said. So these guys can't lie to save their lives. Okay. Then comparing Shani and Mars, Shani people are unreasonably negative. Mars people can be ridiculously positive. Their favorite dialogue is "Dekha jayega." We'll do something about it. We'll cross the bridge when we reach it. That's their motto. So they have loud voices, a strong conviction, can be headstrong and very naive. And they think they can bend reality. And at least in the first half of their life, they are heartbroken and they realize that things don't work that manner, it can put them down, but they have an incredible ability to bounce back. Shani and Moon take a very, very long time to bounce back. Mars bounces back like this. They have this fire in the heart. And that fire burns away a lot of negativity. I have almost never seen a Mars person in depression for very long. No, it's the Shani Moon area. These guys have that forceful spirit, that fiery aura, and boundless energy. So you can bet on that. Now, coming to something which can be a little controversial, but I'll say that Mars is the real alpha male. There are two alpha males, one is Sun, other is Mars. Sun is the mature alpha, Sun is the king, Sun is the wise warrior. Mars is the raw deal, Mars is the raw alpha. So, just like Venus in first is better for women, Sun and Mars in first are better for men. Mars in the chart of a female is not very bad. She can be very good looking, healthy, and energetic. But for men, Mars in first is almost a very happy placement. They often get "Kisab mard hai wala" title and treatment. So, and they get a lot of testosterone in their body. Mars people always have heavy testosterone. So, Sun can be a heavy testosterone, but more of boss in a condescending way. Think the difference between Don Vito Corleone. He was Sun in the first Capricorn. Sonny was Mars in the first. So while Vito will think and he'll be very polite and respectful and things like that, Sonny will go and hammer his head against anything. So that's the difference. So okay. So Sun impresses, Mars excites. You know what I'm talking about. Okay. Another point, these people do not suffer from bad health. Yes, they can get a lot of injuries, they're clumsy, can hurt themselves. They usually have those injuries off and on, can break a bone once or twice in a life, but they do not have things like diabetes or depression. And their love for sports keeps them fit. Mars in the first can work out easily, even joyfully. So gym is their territory. They make great gym bros. Remember Guddu Bhaiya. Even if he's going to, threaten somebody, he'll do pull-ups from their bar. So that is what Mars does. And these guys have amazing bodies, great abs, and they have a lot of acid in their stomach. So they can suffer from acidity, especially if the fifth house is afflicted. And my advice to them is avoid fiery and spicy food. Stick to protein shakes and paneer. And so, gym bros, I'm rooting for you. Just keep it under control, because Mars has this habit of going overboard on everything. So I'm rooting for you guys. Just keep at it. Take good care of your stomach. Otherwise, it can create acidity, digestive problems, or it can lead to migraines because of these. Another thing about Mars in the first house, these guys live for the day. If Mars is not in an earth sign, these people have this fiery habit of working in short, intense bursts, Abhi kiya for a short while, then they want to get out of it, they get bored easily. They make great project managers, but terrible operations managers. Day to day is very boring for them. What they need is excitement. So, if they see a particular start date, particular finish date, itna karna, high energy, high excitement, they're all for it. But day to day bureaucracy, files, Excel sheets, not their cup of tea. I still remember one of the soldiers who was fighting in Afghanistan. He was put by the new government in a bureaucratic position, and he was miserable. He said, I miss the days of action. So that's Mars for you. They prefer the chaos of war instead of the boredom of day-to-day bureaucracy. I cannot say that I approve of it, but for a Mars person, I can understand. And that brings me to the next point. These guys are financially irresponsible. Mars thinks money is to be enjoyed and even burned for personal enjoyment and excitement. That famous dekha jayega attitude lands them into financial trouble. They spend money like there is no tomorrow, and they are happy to take loans for their immediate gratifications. For them, life is a party and you live only once is their motto. Unless they have a very strong second or 11th or a strong Shani or Moon, they won't be in a financially great place. but their energy almost always allows them to make a good money in their life. And they won't be great savers, although they can make good money. They have that effort and ability to start, but they are very good at burning money, and they would lend money very easily without thinking if they can ever get it back. Most of the times they have a big heart and they spend money freely to their friends and family, and they don't judge them and do not like to be judged about their financial habits. So if they have a spouse or a parent who can control them, that would be good for them. Now, coming to the career parts, like I said, these guys are high testosterone people with a lot of energy and fire, and they are usually drawn to physical and violent occupation like sports, police, army, things like that. I've seen a lot of army, police, and sports people with Mars in a strong position. They also do very well in logistics and engineering. But when I say engineering, do not expect them to sit at a keyboard coding for 90 hours a week. No. These guys hate desk jobs. You will not find a lot of computer engineers in these people. These guys are the least likely to do a desk job. That's more of a Shani Mercury thing. But you will find these guys, even if they are engineers, you will find them in oil fields, construction sites, borders, police stations, stadiums, hospitals. A lot of doctors have a heavy Mars. Although the best yoga for a doctor is the 6th house Shani, or at least a 12th house, but I have seen heavy Mars, particularly heavy Scorpio, in a lot of doctors' charts. So, because these guys are very comfortable with blood and gore, particularly Scorpio, if that is heavy. You will find them in hospitals, stadiums, and even in jail. A lot of people in jail, especially for violent crime. You might find a very heavy Mars, particularly 1st or 7th house Mars. They all male. So all the good, bad, ugly side of manhood is very boosted in them. Now, why is Mars the raw side of masculinity? Because it's the swordom of the sun. Okay, these people will go to war to protect them. If you have friend with Mars in the first, chances are he is the one you call when there is a trouble, and no matter how ugly things are, he got your back. So Mars is the defender. Mars is the protector. Mars will go out and physically put himself in danger in order to protect you. Now, coming to the biggest point of it, what about Manglik? Well, you cannot talk about Mars without addressing the Manglik thing. So, Manglik, what is Manglik? Mars in 1, 7, 4, 8, 12, that is considered Manglik. Some people consider 8th as a Manglik, some people do not. I think Mars has been, maligned beyond a certain point. Mars in the first is a good kind of Manglik. Would you not want your child to marry someone who is strong and positive and resilient and healthy? I would. So this is particularly great for men. So if your daughter is getting married to a boy with a strong Mars, that's a good thing. And most of the ladies, they prefer a man with a strong Mars. Indian parents, unfortunately, they want to run the great beta factory of Shani-dominated men, where teachers, parents, bosses, government, we are busy making them Shani-dominated IT coolies, slaving away in schools, coaching centers, offices, and their corporate overlords telling them to work 90 hours, 70 hours in the name of nation building and work ethics. Feel bad for these guys. I used to be one of those before my awakening happened. So if you have a sun particularly, let his Mars rise. Okay. Let the Mars child be himself. He will not take up a safe desk job. He will not be happy in a bureaucracy. He would want some sort of a strong career. And please do not suppress their Mars. We are seeing the repercussion of bad Mars in this country now. It is coming out in the open. So let your Mars first child be himself or herself. You will thank me later. Coming to Manglik, here is the ultimate bombshell. Shani, Ketu, and Sun create the most number of divorces. Mars is the number 4 culprit, so to speak. So stop bad mouthing this. So I will do an entire series on Manglik soon, but till then, horse your horses. So with Mars will talk a lot about relationship advice, male female interaction, what's a beta male, what's an alpha male, how to raise boys, the art of manhood. I'm working on that. And first it'll come on honestastrologer.com as an article, and then it'll come as an English video. So please do subscribe to Honest Astrologer Hindi. Link is in the description. And do check out honestastrologer.com. The new website is amazing. It's pretty fast. So a big shout out to my IT partners who have done this. Platina Web Solutions Jaipur. Thank you so much. So with this, we come to the end of this video. I hope this was as per your expectations. And this is a long video. Mars in second would be the next one. It will be coming very, very soon. If not within days, then within weeks. And I would love to read your comments about this video. Please write in description if you know somebody like that. With this, I take your leave. Jai Mangal Dev, Jai Bajrangbali.